Hello, I'm Jeremy, and today we're going to talk about Tim Pool's video about this clip that's going around of this Asian woman who's being beat, and Tim gets, as normal, part of the picture right and part of it wrong. So if you like what I'm doing, subscribe, hit the like button. I've got Patreon, subscribe, star it. It helps me out a lot. I've got a lot more that I want to do than just this. So he's talking about this, and I've seen the video. It was hard to tell kind of what was going on. It's security footage. It's not the sharpest picture that there is. And it looks like, now, I hate this. Everybody's making assumptions. And the biggest assumption is that this woman, this Asian woman who's 65, which, so what? I don't think her age is relevant. But she's a 65 Asian woman, and I would prefer to have all the information, too much of it than not enough. This goes exactly along with the mass shooting stuff. It's like I'm not interested in stopping just some of the violence. I want it all stopped. I want all information together. But anyways, it's an assumption that they don't know each other. It's like you're just trying to sell it to me that this guy just randomly beat this woman that he just randomly met out there on the street in the middle of the day and just decided he was just going to flip out right there. That's a lot of assumptions. I mean, it could be absolutely legitimate, but face value, that doesn't make any damn sense whatsoever. He could have been intoxicated, high, furious, over something else. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. And also to make the assumption that it was because she was Asian. Lots and lots of assumptions. And then Tim talks about, and he's not the only one, but others have noticed that there were two security guards that were there by the door, and neither of them did anything. And one of them did, and that was he closed and locked the door. It's glass doors. Why didn't they do anything? Because they don't have to. They're security guards. They're not cops. What are they supposed to do? You're making assumptions again. Most security guards don't have guns. They don't even have cuffs on them. I don't know what they had. I don't know what kind of training they had. I don't know if this was a temporary gig or a permanent gig. I know absolutely nothing. So anyways, Aristotle has this golden mean that he's come up with, and so I've pulled it up right here. And the golden mean, or the middle way, is the desirable middle between two extremes. I've talked about this before, but now that I'm getting better with all of this, I can actually pull it up and show you. One is, it's the desirable middle between two extremes, one of excess and the other of deficiency. It appeared in Greek through at least as early as the Delphic maxim, which is probably some kind of writing, nothing to excess, and emphasize in later Aristotelian philosophy. For example, in the Aristotelian view, courage is a virtue, but if it's taken to excess, it would manifest as recklessness, and in deficiency, it would be cowardice. This is the example that I give, and that is, if you come up to someone and you see that a woman is getting her purse robbed from her, and you do nothing at all, then yes, you are a coward. If you come up and you intervene and help the woman keep her purse, then you're courageous. But if the guy's like 6'6" and built like a racehorse, or has a gun, and then you intervene, then you get beat down to, or you get shot to, and that's recklessness. And in a situation like that, the answer is to be a good witness, where you pull out your phone, you record the incident, you call 911. Doesn't mean that you don't do anything. It just means that you need to adjust appropriately. So what about these security officers? I would say that they're absolute cowards, and it's because they didn't do that stuff. I don't see either of them calling the police. I don't see either of them pulling out their phones. I don't see them doing anything. And whenever he left, they don't go out and help the woman. And supposedly she suffered pretty good injuries from it. And and this is something that doesn't matter. If you're a man, woman, young or old, I mean, everybody today has a cell phone. You can pull out your cell phone, you can record this stuff. They do it all the time. What's that thing called? World Star, isn't that it? And they record all these things that go down all the time. It's like, yes, absolutely. I would say that these guys are in the wrong line of work. That if they can't handle a situation like this, then what good are they? Because if they did nothing, or if they took their sweet time going about it, then screw them. But also, screw Tim. He talks about how men don't do as much as they used to, where they don't help women like they used to. And it's like, they don't have guns as easily and as accessible as they used to either. I mean, this guy's obviously off of his rocker. How many times have you just gone out and just out and about, and a guy just, for no reason that you're aware of, just starts beating the crap out of almost a senior citizen, a 65-year-old short little woman? Something's wrong with that guy. And you're going to go and intervene? You don't know if he has a gun or a knife or anything else. You know absolutely nothing that's going on. As far as you know, maybe she's a landlady and that's a tenant and they're having some kind of problems and he just snapped her. Maybe they work together for all you know. Too many assumptions. I don't like that at all. Never. And then he pulls up this article about this guy where he saw a drug dealer coming up and choking some woman. I think she was on drugs and she was trying to get some more drugs. Started choking her, and then this third party, this guy, came on up and hit him in the face, and he got 6 years for it. It's like, well, what's the rest of the story? And he mentions a little bit of it, that the way that he hit him, that it was either so hard or maybe he went back and he landed on his head or something like that. He almost died. Well, that kind of changes things. You know, there's a difference between coming up and helping somebody and nearly killing somebody else. So it's like, was his actions appropriate? It was like, no, sounds like they were pretty reckless because he might have gone above and beyond what the situation called for. So I hate these short, simple, stupid explanations, because my experience with life is there ain't a damn thing that's short and simple and sweet. Everything is complicated. If life was easy and simple, it wouldn't be this difficult. But it's crazy on how complicated everything is. So screw all this crap, on all of it, from all these people. I'm tired of the drama. And Tim just plays it off like, oh, no good Samaritan acts are ever happening or what. There was a shooting somewhere in Texas where somebody came to a church, started shooting it up. And you know what? There were some guys who were there and had guns, and they shot back and they ran the guy off. So don't tell me that he's just cherry picking some random nonsense. You know, it's not to say that it's not something that we shouldn't look into, but we should look into it instead of just taking things for face value and stop with all the damn assumptions. And then it mentions that an elderly 65-year-old Asian woman who was on her way to church. Is that relevant information? What part of that is relevant information? You don't know if maybe it was just some kind of mugging. Maybe he thought that she had church because maybe she was dressed up because that's what a lot of people do whenever they go to church. Maybe whenever he got engaged with it, it's like, oh, normally she's got like a lot of jewelry on and I don't see it. Who knows? Do they have... Is there any correlation between these two people at all? Do they go to the same church? Do they live in the same neighborhood? Is there anything? We don't know. It could be that there's absolutely nothing, and I'm tired of it. So, you know, one of the things that I want my website to have is that, you know what, people are going to be able to thumbs up and thumbs down all this stuff as to what's really pertinent information, so we can start getting to the bottom of these damn problems. Oh, the framing to all this stuff. Completely ignoring the woman. It's like, or maybe doing their job, because they're not police. Their job is security for the building and the occupants there. They don't know. As far as they're aware, that guy could have pulled out a gun, rushed on in there, and started shooting people up. I know, it sucks. It is. I don't want any of this to happen. But let's get the framing right. I don't blame the guys for locking the door. I don't blame the guys for securing the premises because they're security guards. Now, if they didn't call the police, if they weren't taking video footage, I don't know if they have a phone. I know there are plenty of jobs out there where you're not allowed to have your phone because too many people kind of start playing games on it and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess you could say I just made assumptions. But if they did have a phone, it's like, yeah, what the hell's going on? Now, later in the video, once kind of into it a little bit, it does mention that he was saying Asian slurs at the woman. It's like, still, that didn't mean anything. I tell you what, I'm old enough, I've been around the block more than enough times that people say that stuff because they are pissed off, and they will say those slurs not because they really mean them so much, but man, they want that person to suffer. They want to bring them down on all levels. They want to bring them down physically, mentally, you name it. They want to do it, and so they'll say that crap just to wear them down. So, but, you know, I would not be surprised at all if, yeah, it was just some crazy moron out there and just saw an Asian woman. Maybe he did just kind of just go off on her. I don't know why. Again, it doesn't make sense, but there are plenty of stupid people out there in the world, and they do stupid stuff for no damn reason. So, then I'm just going to say a little bit more on this. And Tim starts talking about how we're kind of a dull people and that we risked life and limb to cross the seas to come over to America and the frontier life and all that. And yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of other stuff that supports it. So, like BuzzFeed, they had this, like the Try Guys, and one of the things that they did was they went out and got blood work done to see what their testosterone levels were. And even though these guys were in their 20s, their testosterone was worse than guys in their 60s. Yeah, so what does that mean? Maybe, yeah, there are a lot more cowards, but in a way you can also say, so that's something that I don't like either. They talk about how whenever something happens with the police, about how they did a poor job with it. It's like, yes, because whenever, especially something out of the ordinary happens, they don't know how to handle the situation. What's that guy's name? Jocko Williams or whatever talks about how they need to have more training for this. You know why they don't? Because violent encounters are not the norm. It's not. Well, why are you going to spend a ton of money and waste a ton of time for something that doesn't happen but a handful of times? You need to train for what actually happens. Just because somebody has gone through the academy and they have a badge and a gun, that doesn't mean that they're capable of handling every single situation that comes along their ways, especially whenever they're in a gunfight. I was in the Army, and I did specific training for all that stuff. The engagements that we had, they didn't happen very often. They were few and far in between. Whenever we did get there, though, whenever we got there to Bosnia and we were camped outside the city, they were still firing at each other like mad. We saw the tracers and heard the bullet fire. That didn't mean that we were up and capable for the job. That there is a difference between soldiers who are just green out of boot camp and soldiers who are salty, where, you know what, they're going to handle better under pressure. I know I was nervous. So, and it's, people are dumb too. It's like there's a difference between a cop and a lawyer. You know, they think that they can plead their case, and it's like, no, a cop is only there to handle criminal matters. If it's a civil matter, then you got to go to court. So they're two different things. And even though they may both be illegal, those both might need attention from the government in some shape, fashion, or form, that doesn't mean that they're the same. And so what a cop does and what a lawyer does are not the same. So anyways, I think I'm going to cut it off right there. I'm more interested in dealing with people who are violent and their violent tendencies and being specific with it than I am stupid, blanketed gun laws that don't do jack. So like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and we will see you again later. Thanks a lot. Bye.